person. A lot of other normal people, like me. I am a normal person. I'm a normal person. I'm kind of just a dude. I was just your average apolitical citizen. So back to my point. I'm a normal person. We, the normal people, because we're just people. I am seriously just a normal person. As I can't emphasize this enough, a normal person. Just a normal person. A lot of other normal people, like me. I am a normal person. I'm a normal person. I'm kind of just a dude. I was just your average apolitical citizen. So back to my point. I'm a normal person. We, normal people. Because we're just people. I am seriously just a normal person. As I can't emphasize this enough. A normal person.
I don't know if it's far-fetched to ask, but Russian actor could be continuing to fuel things as this protest grows, but perhaps even instigating it from the outset.
Although it may take several decades for the process of transformation to unfold, combat will likely take place in new dimensions, in space, cyberspace, and perhaps the world of microbes. Space itself will become a theater of war as nations gain access to space capabilities and come to rely on them. Further, the distinction between military and commercial space systems, combatants and non-combatants, will become blurred. Information systems will become an important focus of attack, particularly for U.S. enemies seeking to short-circuit sophisticated American forces, and advanced forms of biological warfare that can target specific genotypes may transform biological warfare from the realm of terror to a politically useful tool.
Let's get ready to spread 'em. All right, let's spread it. We're live. We bumped our Friday night into Saturday night live. We were having too much fun watching Pierre Poilievre meltdown.
Yeah.
Rain up in the Yukon territories. You caught all this Pierre Poilievre garbage?
Some of it, yeah. I just got wind of it there this past week. I didn't do a deep dive into what was going on, but
yeah, it was just yesterday, so you're not far behind. It was just like yesterday afternoon that the whole thing went down.
Oh, was it? Okay, wow.
Oh yeah.
That was a couple of days ago now. What do I know?
Well, what do I know, right? I mean, I'm not even sure what day it is.
Yeah, me neither. What day is it? Saturday. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, immediately hearing about it, I wasn't entirely sure who the Christine Anderson woman was, so I had to go kind of look her up and whatever. Max Bernier actually sat down with her. I watched a little clip with her, and he seemed to love her. So anyway, yeah,
well, why wouldn't he, right? I mean, she just seems like German him, like she was vociferous opponent of lockdowns, the whole vaccine shit, nationalist, populist, wants to stop unfettered immigration, stop support for Ukraine war. I mean, that's all. I haven't found anything racist about anything she's posted.
No. Well, exactly, right? So like I said, I haven't done a deep enough dive on her to see if there's anything out there, but I'm assuming you have, and I wouldn't doubt that there's virtually nothing. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's extremely disappointing that Poilievre has taken this stance, but at the same time, I'm not surprised. He's always been extremely careful with his wording, even around the convoy, to be honest. If we're being honest.
Well, sure.
Well,
yeah, we weren't sitting here waiting for Savior Poilievre, right?
No.
I mean, we're both Bernier all the way.
Yeah.
So we're for Americans that are watching. Let's set this up a little bit, okay? There is a nationalist populist rising happening in Germany, which everybody gets a little bit nervous when they hear those words put together, right? German nationalists. But the woman leading this movement is Christine Anderson, and she sounds like our Maxime Bernier of the People's Party of Canada, a former mainstream Conservative Party member who left after he was screwed out of the leadership several years ago. And she sounds kind of like him, just like reduce immigration to acceptable levels, no support for foreign wars, totally anti-lockdown, anti-mandate, anti-vaccine, all this stuff. Anti this vaccine, and she made a trip to Canada a couple of weeks ago, and she met with Bernier, the leader of the smaller alternative populist PPC party, whom Rain and I are unabashed supporters of, and also some conservative members of parliament as well. The former interim leader of the Conservative Party and a few other big members. 3 of them had lunch with Christine Anderson. And then when the media and the Liberal Party, the ruling Trudeau's Liberals up here, got a hold of it, they made a big deal out of it that all these conservatives are meeting with this racist bigot from Germany. This is what we get on screen now. The official comment from the leader of the Conservative Party in Canada, who's supposed to be our big populist. He supported the truckers, and he's a good guy, and he won the leadership of the party by a never-before-seen majority. Completely uncontested, instant first ballot win as the leader. All the Conservative Party members in Canada are thinking, oh, finally a revolution is coming. And this is what we get from Pierre Poilievre, the supposed populist, anti-woke leader. We'll read it. Christine Anderson's views are vile and have no place in our politics. The MPs, he's referring to the MPs from the Conservative Party that had lunch with Christine Anderson. The MPs were not aware of this visiting member of the European Parliament's opinions, and they regret meeting with her. Frankly, it would be better if Anderson never visited Canada in the first place. She and her racist, hateful views are not welcome here.
Wow.
Like, wow. Like, is that written by like the CEO of Google?
Yeah, pretty
Like,
much.
what you know, this has no place here fucking talk. Like, that you can't tell the difference between that and a Trudeau press release.
Yeah. So they met Christine for lunch, and they had no idea who the hell she was, her opinions.
Well,
Yeah, if
well, that's the story, right? Of course they did, and of course they knew what she was about. Like, they have aides to tell you who you're meeting with. I know they're busy people, but they're like, oh, this Christine Anderson's. They were probably like, this Christine Anderson. She's picking up a lot of good press on our side over in the European Parliament and in Germany. She's got a movement going. Looks good. It might look good to sit down and be associated with her and stuff like that. This should have been a win for the Conservative Party.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know what Poilievre's thinking, like, I mean, because I did see the one clip of her in the EU session there where she was calling out Trudeau and all that stuff. And I mean, Poilievre's more or less said the exact same thing about Trudeau. So I don't know, I really don't know. I don't see what the big deal is here at all, right?
It's the backpedal. It's the bend the knee. That's what's killing people. If he had said nothing, just ignored this, and let it fall by the wayside of the news cycle, then his, he should know that his proponents would just be like, they're trying to attack everyone that's left of or to the right of Karl Marx is a racist. Everyone knows this. Yeah. But instead, he does this.
And did he do this after Trudeau made his statement about the Conservative Party?
Yes. Outrage came out on at least Twitter and a couple websites and stuff like that. Obviously,
well, there you go. So I mean, this goes back to our last vlog where we talked about this. I mean, at some point, if the Conservatives want to be taken seriously, they have to, legitimately stand up to this woke bullshit, and they're not doing it. They're just fucking laying down.
Yep. And I came back from doing a huge video edit. I lost like an entire day basically of media, and then came onto Twitter to find like all these accounts that are like, oh, fuck the PPC, they're gonna split the vote, and Maxime Bernier's low energy and all this shit and stuff. They're all they themselves are posting, it's over. Poilievre just fucked up. We won't go anywhere near this guy. Fuck him and all this stuff. Like big time conservative accounts on Twitter are just going like, fuck him.
Right.
Like, he has no idea what he's done, man. By now he might. Yeah. By now he might, if he has any staff members that at least search his name on Twitter. Whoo! I mean, this is big. It's disappointing. Not in any, like I say, we're not big supporters of him. He's just better than Trudeau. But that being said, he seemed to be good at reading the room. He got in with the convoy and stuff, and then quickly kind of reversed on vaccines and mandates and stuff like that, because it seemed like he was reading the room. Yeah. Then he does something like this. Like, so who is he?
Well, like I said, and it's incredibly strange. I mean, I don't know. Did you do any kind of a deep dive on Anderson to see if you could find anything that she might have said that's been
as always with the current definition? You can, half of it is racist, right? It just depends on how you define racism. I haven't found anything that's even remotely controversial. Just straight up populist, measured. Very Bernier. She's like the Germanier.
Yeah. Well, if that's the case, then yeah, I don't know what Poilievre's thinking, like, at all. Because, like I said, I mean, he's, since he's won his leadership, for the Conservatives. I mean, he's every time I see any clip of him in the House of Commons, he's totally slagging Trudeau for all kinds of different things. And I mean, you know, what Anderson was doing isn't any different, in my opinion.
No, and Poilievre's done a good job of being a bit of a bulldog in Parliament for sure. I mean, it's like, you know, over kind of, you know, low energy stuff, financial stuff, taxes and things like this.
Well, but at the same time, you know, I mean, maybe that's, I mean, as much as I hate to say it, although I mean, I've always known this anyway. I mean, maybe it's good that this happened, and now, you know, the hardline Conservatives, you know, we'll see him for what he is, you know.
Well, they are. The question is this just a little news cycle moment and it'll all pass, or is this a deep fracture that he's going to have a hell of a time coming back from? I mean, what'll be interesting to see is that after some of his aides pick up Twitter, is he going to now fashion another statement and clarify? Is he going to apologize? Is he going to backpedal from his backpedaling? I don't know.
Well, this is just it, right? Because I mean, even, you know, all that being said, I mean, all Poilievre has done, you could just look at as being theater since then. Because I mean, you know, sure, he asks a bunch of tough questions and makes a bunch of bold statements aimed at the Liberals in the House of Commons, but the Liberals never answer any fucking questions, and at the end of the day, they just sit down and move on, right? So, I mean, from my point of view here, if Poilievre really wants to impress from the Conservative front, I mean, people like Christine Anderson is people that he needs to align with to show his base that he's serious.
Yeah.
Because not getting Trudeau to answer any questions in the House of Commons doesn't prove anything. But, you know, I mean, once, like I said, it's just theater. Poilievre can shout and scream at him all day long and ask him the same question 30 fucking times in a row. But if it doesn't go anywhere and nothing gets solved, well, who cares? What does it mean? It doesn't mean anything, you know? So Poilievre's going to have to stand on his own two legs and commit to a vision, you know, without worrying about what the hell Trudeau's doing, you know? And he hasn't done that, and he's not doing that, in my opinion, right? And this is proof of it.
It's just back to bickering over tax rates and kind of like it just really isn't a whole hell of a lot. Mariangela, hey, great to have you on. Thanks for joining us and helping us out.
What was Leslie's statement that she told the friggin' line as well?
It up right now. Oh, fuck yeah. They got the party whip in there, and all three of them released statements saying, racist, Nazi, sorry. Here we go. Statement from all three. It is, of course, not uncommon for members of parliament to meet with visiting elected officials from other countries. During a visit, we recently met with an elected representative of the European Parliament while she was in Canada. We were not aware of the views or associations of her and her political party. We do not share or endorse her views and strongly condemn any views that are racist or hateful. All right, way to stand up there, Leslyn Lewis, former leader of the Conservative Party and some of the bigwigs.
Well, she wasn't the former leader, but she ran against Poilievre and didn't win.
Oh, I'm getting mixed up with what's her name?
Rumpel?
Huh?
Bergen or Rumpel?
Bergen, yeah, Bergen. I'm getting mixed up with Bergen. Leslyn Lewis is the black one.
Yeah, this is tragic.
That's too bad because she was actually seemed like a good candidate. She seemed like a good person.
Yeah, well, I remember I'd said to you that I told you to watch that interview she did with Peterson.
Yeah,
God, I was actually more impressed by the things.
Excellent.
I was more impressed by the things she was saying than Poilievre had ever said, even.
Yeah. And they're all running scared now, you know, like. So it's like, what's next? Like, now you'll just be able to say, like, oh, you took a state visit to China, or oh, you questioned our aid to the Ukraine, and are then now they're going to apologize for that? Like, fuck, like, you know, something as dumb as this.
Yeah. Well, and I guess, you know, I realize maybe it's a bit of a stretch as well, but I mean, when I see something like this happen, I can't, you know, it's hard for me not to at least consider the possibility that once again we've got a conservative government that's going to fucking self-implode before we even get an election, and Trudeau's going to win again.
Yeah, I know.
But then it's happening on purpose, right? Like this is all part of the fucking plan.
Well, they've always got their trump card, racism and all this stuff. They've always got their trump card, racism, Nazism. So I mean, this is as far as being part of the plan. That's always there in the plan.
Well,
anytime you try to get anything right wing going, this is always waiting in the wings.
Right, but
like
what
Lyndon Johnson on the plane after JFK got shot.
I know, but if the conservatives want to be taken seriously, like I just finished saying a few minutes ago, they need to stand up and call out this shit.
Yeah,
they have to. I mean, at some point they got to grow a spine and say no. You know, like in this case, it's like no, this lady doesn't have racist views. She's got conservative, populist views, and this is what we're doing now. This is what we're about. This, you know, I mean, they weren't never claimed to go full populist like say the PPC party, but you know, but I mean, fuck. I mean, it's no secret if anybody with half a brain in their head is paying attention that Poilievre literally stole half the platform from the PPC party, what in his run up to his election of the Conservatives. So, I mean, he obviously must believe in some of it. Maybe, I don't know, or why steal it, right?
Yeah. Mary Angela, I found the apologetics for Pierre to be so ridiculous. I spent hours classifying that this was a real Poilievre statement. Conservatives were calling Brian Lilley fake news for reporting. Really? Just trying to claim that Brian Lilley made it up and tweeted that on his behalf. But then all three MPs then immediately go and agree with it, right? Leslie's statement basically said she'd rather stand with the LGBTQ community than Anderson. Well, all right. Well, there you go. Have fun with that. So, I mean, now it's inflection time. I was spying on conservative supporters' Twitter spaces last night. Wow. It was just, I was like, I had a bucket of popcorn and a beer, and I was just like, gimme, gimme, gimme. And it's like to the point that there's this guy. Let's find this arsehole.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you had any screenshots from anything they were saying.
Well, I mean, they're Twitter Spaces, right? So it was this guy. I'm just going to share here. He's become kind of a legendary troll against CPC. The pleb.
The pleb, yeah.
Yeah. So this guy who's on message about a lot of stuff has just got this personal hatred of PPC. There we go. I still support Pierre Poilievre. I don't care if that pisses you off. So I was on his space last night. And it's just hilarious listening to these guys where they're like completely like just heartbroken about the entire day, complete disaster, that totally know that Poilievre fucked up, all the MPs fucked up. And they're like, if only a political party would take a stand against the mandates. If only a political party would take a stand against Ukraine. If only a political party would, shut down illegal immigration and all this stuff. And everybody's like, well, that's the PPC. Yeah, right. But Bernier's, I don't like his energy. He's low energy.
Right.
That's the best I could do. The best that this fool could do was say, but I don't like him. Or he's French, so he can't win the West. They're obsessed with his Frenchness.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. You know, it's like, wow, let's address some real racism in the room. Yeah, it was hilarious and sad. Space is filled with delusional PPC bros who think Pierre is done. And that was the thing. And he brought I'm trying to remember the name of the pretty big Ottawa YouTuber, got big on the convoy like us. shit, what's his name? Brought him into the space too. And he was all like, yeah, PPC, 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 except I saw some videos of Bernier and his microphone sucked.
Wow. Yeah, it's just,
Like,
that's
really,
it's ridiculous.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, just really, is this is what it's come to? And then the guy's just like in complete despair last night, and then today is just like, fuck you, I still support Poilievre. Well, fucking enjoy that, buddy. And the constant argument of vote splitting, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But it's just like, so we've had 3 elections in a row of the conservatives fucking it up and losing. So we're going to get the liberals anyway. Now's the time.
Yeah, well, if they keep this kind of crap up, I mean, we're probably going to get liberals again. You know, I mean,
yeah. So it's time to start building. So it's time to start all this, like, but I don't like Bernier's low energy. He has a bad microphone and shit. Like, fuck off. He's taking he's actually promoting what you're saying. So it's time to vote.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and get them a fucking seat. Get them a seat or 2.
Get them, yeah. Well, yeah, they absolutely have to win a seat or 2 this time around.
Yeah, and lock us in so we can get into all of the debates, so we can be covered in the press. Even if it's slandered in the press, it's better than not being covered.
Yep.
You know. Yeah, man. Mary Angela, people say the West doesn't trust Quebecers, which is fair. Neither do I. But the West are awake and know what time it is. Yeah, and I think a lot of the deep-seated Quebec West distrust, I mean, you know, it's deep-seated, so it's there, but I think a lot of it's also gone. Yeah. Compared to having to put up with Trudeau, I think there's plenty of people out West who drop all that just to get rid of Trudeau.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know,
just bait and switch, like even Smith, or is it Danielle Smith in Alberta? That's yeah. I mean, even she's backtracked on a lot of the shit that she came out strong with. You know?
Oh, has she?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like what?
Well, a lot of the vaccine stuff, mandates and stuff like that. I think she's just kind of went back on all that, and yeah. Off the top of my head, I don't recall, but I know I've seen, you know, a handful of things easily over the past month where I'm just like, well, that's kind of not what you were saying, you know, before you got elected there. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's you know, again, just seem more and more hopeless. Right?
Yeah, it certainly does. Yeah, I hadn't heard about Smith backtracking. I didn't know.
Yeah,
they seem to be attacking her so hard. Seems like business as usual.
Yeah,
but I hadn't caught any of that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, like I told you, I mean, I was, and then I've, you know, kind of had to take a forced break here the past month just to maintain the sanity. So
yeah, me too. I'm doing like 20 hours off and then 4 hours back on, and to see what's going on and get ready for the show and stuff like that. So I'm a little bit out of it too.
Yeah.
And if, oh my God, there's only so much you can follow.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. That's, I mean, it's good for Bernier, I guess. I mean, maybe he'll get some more support now.
Well, it's good, yeah. And in the space for WogPog, I'll bring that up on the screen, because Wog right now, one of our big partners on Twitter, is doing a space right now. Are we sharing that? Yeah. So WogPog Real there on Twitter, doing a space right now, and it's all just conservative cope. People coming in and crying over Poilievre, but not quite. Can we vote for Bernier? Can we do it? It's excellent. It's been like 2 nights of that. Yeah. It's tricky. I mean, like, is it hopeless? I don't know, but we got to do something, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just it. I mean, we can keep voting the way we've been voting for
Yeah.
the PPC. But I mean,
I just asked Conservative Party of Canada supporters, what do you think you're going to get when you see something like this?
Yeah.
What do you think you're going to get? What kind of change are you going to get when the slightest hint of right-wing tendencies, and then the whole party collapses and apologizes?
Yeah. Well, I don't think people are. I don't think the Conservatives and the people who, are planning on voting Conservative or are Conservative supporters in general are fully aware of, the amount of work that has to be done to even start to reverse the damage that Trudeau has done.
Yeah, well, it's going to take a lot.
I don't even. I mean, even with what Poilievre has said, what I've seen him say, because I follow him, fairly religiously, and even the plans that he has, it's not going to do nearly enough to make much of a difference. Like a little bit of a difference, maybe, but my God.
Well, I mean, we are frankly at the point where we're going to have to start discussing becoming a republic.
Yeah, well, exactly.
We're beyond any kind of little like C-41 bill you can pass next year to fix things.
Yeah,
we're so far into it. We're at the point where we need to have discussions about Canada's sovereignty.
Yeah,
and it's only a group that would be willing to talk about that kind of thing.
Yep.
Which I feel the PPC would. I mean, again, with reservations. Bernier's come a long fucking way, and he goes deeply populist. He goes way further than Trump ever did about so many issues. And I just whenever I got something that's going on in the world scene, I check in on what Bernier's got to say about it, and I'm like, okay, that's a fair take. Something as complicated and as hot as Ukraine. His take isn't to come out and be like a total jackass like I would be and be like, fucking Zelensky's a cokehead and they're laundering money and fuck this and shit. He's just like, it's not our fucking business. We got stuff to do here at home.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. That's what we need from an independent leader of a sovereign country that is working towards peace.
Yeah.
A statement like that.
Yeah.
Justin Not Trudeau says, thanks, Super Spreaders, for doing what you do and fighting the good fight. Streamers are the real media now. Yeah, I mean, what choice do we have, right? Where else are we going to go for any information? I mean, my God. So, yeah, I think we're at that point. Like, we need a party that's going to tear it down.
Well,
that's not an easy thing. If we were going to dump the Constitution and dump the Queen, we'd need, I think it's a unanimous vote, like 2/3 vote from each province. Be a hell of a thing, but we're going to start having this talk.
We need to, well, exactly. We need to start having some chats about some incredibly important issues. And I mean, the truth is, as you just pointed out, we're not even close to that, and that's the first step. I mean, forget policy for now. We need to start talking about it at least. And they won't even let us talk about it. Once again, this goes back to exactly why what Poilievre just did was such a fucking boneheaded move.
Yeah.
Because you're letting the Liberals just walk all over you again. And if that's going to, if you're going to allow shit like that to fly, then good luck getting anything passed or policy-wise put through. You won't. Because as soon as you're even remotely off the beaten path, they're just going to cry Nazi, and that'll be it. You'll cave, right?
Yeah. They're watching polls too much. And the polls, to whatever degree. I mean, he's an old Reform Party kid, right? Poilievre?
I guess, is he?
Yeah.
Sure.
He's kind of from that side anyway, right? Like the Harper side of the Reform Party that merged with the Conservative Party before. He's kind of through that crowd. You should be more skeptical. You should be more aware of these tactics. And just his brief sentence on his statement that the convoy had the right to protest as long as they weren't breaking laws, the kind of hate that was thrown on him for that And the constant hate that's been thrown on him through the entire time that he was running for the Conservative Party's leadership, they should be more aware.
Yeah, I know.
Who is talking to him? Like,
Yeah.
is he that thin and shallow? That's what scares me, is that he really is just a pair of glasses.
Yeah.
And these aren't his ideas, and he isn't leading the party. That he's reading polls.
Well, exactly. That's why this whole statement that he just came out about this Christine Anders thing seems suspicious and fishy. Like, it doesn't, it doesn't make any sense from what he's already said, i.e. his convoy remarks.
It's
right?
the opposite. If I was advising him, I would be advising him this is a chance to take a stance.
Exactly.
It's a chance to make a difference. This woman is well respected.
Yeah.
She's well maligned, of course, but everybody's maligned. He's maligned. Poilievre is maligned by the same people. It's an excellent opportunity to say, okay, great, show me the racist quotes. Until then, she seems like a perfectly reasonable person.
Well, and even still, you have to be a little bit more nuanced to be able to, if you believe, we're dealing with a separating of the wheat from the chaff scenario, you've got to have the intellectual nuance to be able to do that. And Poilievre didn't even go there. Like, I mean, clearly, regardless of what you may think about her, I mean, like I said, she has said things that are exactly the same things that Poilievre has said about Trudeau. So, I mean, there's got to be some common ground there that you can at least take.
And not to mention, she's saying it in Germany. She's not saying it in Canada. She's in Germany.
Exactly. That too, right?
Right? So, I mean, there's a boundary of respect you can have around someone, as they said in their limp-wristed statement. She's a elected representative of a foreign government. She's going to have some views that might not gel with. Doesn't mean you have to take a stance on what she says. Like, geez.
Well, that's just it. It's a throwing the baby out with the bathwater scenario, which is what he just did, right? And, I mean, that's not gonna get you anywhere, Poilievre. I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
Because you just shot you just shot yourself in the foot. Like, how are people going to take what you say about these important issues seriously anymore?
Yeah.
And at least come out in support of another politician from a different country that shares most of your views anyway. Like,
or that we're like, okay, Pierre Poilievre, we're going to get behind your platform, but are you then going to pull back on it halfway through because someone calls you a racist?
Yeah.
I don't know how anyone can get behind him now.
Yeah.
Whereas on the People's Party of Canada side, we got Maxime Bernier, who's just been taking nonstop slings and arrows since his announcement of the party. He's used to it.
Yep.
He pays no heed to it. It just
exactly. Well, that's what
falls off his back like a duck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which is really how it should be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, that's I mean, I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised. But it is disappointing. Right.
It's surprising in how it was over something so small. It of all the things to take a stand on, or all the things to bend the knee on, it just seems like such a strange thing. It could be like, you could have said nothing.
Yeah.
Just ignored it.
Yeah.
It would have been a nothing. Instead, like I said, I woke up to yesterday, the conservative followers on Twitter in a meltdown.
Right.
Yeah.
Poilievre, I mean, the Poilievre and the Conservative Party just became Trudeau's little bitch. Plain and simple. There's no other way to do it. No other way to do it.
Yeah, we knew it was coming. We knew
I hope it wasn't coming.
One could hope, yeah.
But and I mean, that's wild, really.
Yeah.
The more I think it's absolutely wild what he just did, and that could signal the end before he even gets going.
It might. Is this going to be a news blip, or is this going to be a fracture? We'll have to see. Rain, can I get you to handle some comments here for 1 sec? I've got to powder my nose.
Oh God, how do we even do that? I forget.
This is the most recent that we're on.
Okay, where are we? Political parties. The problem is our system is corrupt and our governments and mainstream media are all pushing the same globalist agendas. Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, you're speaking to the choir when you say that, obviously. Enough of the democracy, Napoleonic democracy. Yeah, a republic would be nice, but ugh, God. I mean, the states are technically one, and how's that working out for them? Not the best either. Real separation of powers. Yeah, for sure. It would be good. We've all been conditioned from a young age, some more than others. We need to question everything and do our own research. Absolutely. And I mean, that's why, we started this channel in a lot of ways, just to try to get that same kind of message out. And there's lots of people doing the same thing, but absolutely. I mean, yeah, I'm at the point now where, I certainly have my moments where I'm not sure I believe anything I've ever been told about anything. So that gets a little crazy, but, at least question it for sure. Anyone who caves at Nazi is not a leader, and it's naive to think that he was not aware of Christine or the conservatives are called Nazis. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I was saying before. Like, it's completely naive to think that these conservatives that met Christine had no idea who she was. I mean, of course they did. And yeah, I mean, they shouldn't be caving at any mudslinging that Trudeau is throwing their way. I mean, that's just absolutely and patently ridiculous. And so the fact that they did is, wow, yeah, that's going to be extremely damaging, I think, to their movement for sure. Poilievre isn't maligned enough. That's the issue. The leftist media isn't actually on his tail, or else he would be comfortable being called a Nazi. Actually on his tail. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're saying there, Mariangela, but I mean, the left media certainly seems to be on his tail enough, but yeah, he would be comfortable. Maybe not enough. We'll see. What else have we got here? Poilievre has controlled opposition. Yeah, probably. Ultimately, I mean, admittedly, I even wonder that about Bernier sometimes, but at least, I haven't seen anything, really bonkers happen from the PPC front yet. So, I'm still holding out some hope there. No one should take anything he says seriously because he will be absolutely pull back and change his tune. Well, that certainly seems to be the case now. So we'll see what happens going forward. But yeah. Anyway, Jay, you're back.
Yeah. I mean, so that's my takeaway. Like, if I'm conservative and I'm finally pinning some hopes on this more populist candidate, I mean, just like having lunch with some girl from Germany and the whole party collapses. What are they possibly going to accomplish moving forward?
Yeah.
Would be my question.
Well, yeah, exactly. Right. Like, I mean, how long before, like, I'm sure if the media wanted to, they could do the exact same thing to the Conservative Party, the way they did to Bernier, and go out there and manage to dig up like a handful of people who were, white supremacists that donated money to the party or something, like,
yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just, it's all theater, dude.
It is, and this overarching focus on people instead of policies just is getting me down so bad. Got this incredibly constructive group that we're a part of on Twitter that is excellent for supporting each other for research and evidence, specifically generally focusing, that brought us John Baudouin and the death certificate data.
Mm-hmm.
And the group is put together for that. But as people are adding more and more people into the group that are, they seem like they're totally cool on Twitter and stuff like this, I'm like, logging into Twitter and checking out the group, and it's like, oh, fucking Robert Malone's controlled opposition. Oh, Whitney Webb's controlled opposition. Oh, RFK Jr.'s controlled opposition. Blah, blah, blah. Because he didn't talk about this.
Right.
He didn't talk about the Jews.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is that your pet theory is that you're developing.
Mhm.
This person doesn't talk about that, so they're controlled opposition.
Yeah.
And it's like, just stop with the fucking cult of personality. Stop. Who cares?
Yeah.
Robert Malone could be 100% CIA bankrolled, but everything that he posts every day is useful to the cause.
Yeah.
I haven't heard him post anything at all where he suggests, like rounding all us anti-vaxxers up and putting us in jail. Like, until that moment, why are we even having this discussion?
Yeah.
If the guy's in line, let him go. But and those of us, today it was someone posting about Whitney Webb being controlled opposition.
Who's Whitney Webb again?
Whitney Webb is this crazy American. She's like the American Matt Ehret.
Okay,
like
right.
this computer of history and dark connections, and just published 2,000-page books on Ghislaine Maxwell and what's his name there.
Yeah.
And it's just like and then you go and read the posts about it, and it's just somebody posting because they're mad because she's not covering. It was specifically, she's not covering the Jews.
Right.
So obviously she's controlled opposition because she won't blame it all on the Jews. And that's this guy's like, particular thing. And he wants like Israel and the Jews exposed and all this, but she won't touch it with a 10-foot pole, and it's just like us as content creators too. It's like, we're doing our best going down our rabbit holes. I make videos on the channel and stuff. We're not going to cover everything. We can't.
Yeah.
And once we get big, there are going to be people out there calling us controlled opposition.
Yep. Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That video on Hunter Biden was great, but what about the Jews?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, what about the galactic chakra energy and shit? It's like, fuck yeah, fucking super spreaders is fake news, man. He won't cover the galactic chakra energy,
Right.
Say, why are you wasting even 5 minutes on this? Like, did what the person post useful or not? If it's useful, take it in and go. If it's not useful, ignore.
Yeah.
Who cares if they're controlled ops? I mean, if they want to take you down, they got everything you've ever texted everyone in your fucking life, every website you've ever visited is already sitting on a computer somewhere. If they want you, they got you.
Yep.
You don't even really need controlled ops anymore.
No.
Yeah. You show up on the radar and they'll download everything you've ever done.
Yeah. No, well, that's just it. Like, I mean, I don't know. Did you catch that this past week there, that there was a bunch of scientists that were coming from Texas, I think, or Arkansas? Was it Arkansas? Might have been Arkansas or Texas, that were going to be going to Palestine, Ohio to do a bunch of tests on the environmental disaster. Did you hear that story?
No.
Yeah. Well, they all fucking died in a plane crash.
Oh, and they were headed off to a conference?
Well, I think they were headed to Ohio.
Yes. Okay. I caught a little bit of this. Fill me in. What's the deal?
Yeah, well, that's not much more than that. From what I heard, it was just a bunch of independent scientists that were going there to do a bunch of independent studies, I'm assuming, on like how large the damage was from this toxic spill from this train derailment. And, because obviously the American government is trying to cover it up and saying everything's fine, there's nothing wrong. And yeah, then they just all, managed to get on the same plane, and that plane just happens to crash and they're all dead.
Man.
So this just I brought that story up, as proof to your point of what you were just saying. It's like, if the powers that be decide you're a problem, you're done. You're gone.
We have ways.
Yeah.
We have ways of getting rid of a problem. Yeah, it's the only useful thing I can see for controlled op is to start these wars. So, like I say on the Twitter group, where we've got like dozens of really smart, cool people, you can get these massive fights breaking out over accusations of being controlled opposition.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
The first thing that will tear this apart is accusations like that. Stick to the fucking facts, right? Like, you know, Hunter Biden's laptop, Metabiota, fucking Force Marsh, fucking Answer, fucking, you know, like building up this picture of who the fuck planned out this pandemic and the vaccines and the whole fucking thing. It's got nothing to do with Robert Malone. It's got nothing to do with Whitney Webb. It's got nothing to do with super spreaders. It doesn't matter about the people. At the end of the day, there was a plan, and there will be facts that will show how this plan worked. We sit around arguing about like who's not blaming the Jews enough, like we'll never get anywhere.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. I mean, it's a romantic idea, I suppose, in some regard, to try to go after the head of the snake. But I mean, good God, there's so much more pressing issues, like you say. You know, and I mean, if we can't win the small battles, I don't even see the point of trying to win them the big one.
If I was on the dark side, the number one thing I'd do is get my opposition focused on people.
Yeah.
Because there is a fact trail, there is an evidence trail. There was a crime committed, and the only way to prove crimes is with evidence. But if you can get everybody to go like, oh, you know, the super spreaders isn't covering, you know, the Jewish connection enough, then like, you know, and then they fight amongst each other, and then like they lose 1 million followers overnight, and you know, like that's the best thing you can do is get these people fighting over other people's faces. Instead of evidence.
Yeah.
You know, Justin Trudeau says in 2008, when he was foreign minister, Maxime Bernier left sensitive documents at his girlfriend Julie Couillard's place, and she had connections to the bikers. He stepped down. Yeah, man. That was the first time that he showed up on my radar. And my first thought was his girlfriend's hot. And my second thought was like, yeah, I could see how that could happen. Actually, and that was the first time that I knew he existed, and he actually came across kind of cool from that in a weird way.
Yeah.
Like his biker hot girlfriend, and he left his documents there after a hot night of biker play with her or whatever. I was like, all right, hey, maybe there are some cool Canadian politicians.
Yeah.
You know, I do remember that was hilarious.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying while you were gone. You know, I mean, I'm not even. I was saying to the peeps out there, I'm not even convinced that Bernier's not controlled op in some way. But that being said, I've yet to see him do or say anything that's raised a red flag for me. So
that's it.
Yeah,
with all of these things, it's kind of like everyone's imagining they're throwing out controlled op basically whenever someone doesn't say exactly what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, like, if Bernier is controlled op, what is the end game?
Yeah.
Why would they do this and let someone go out and publicly state the things that he said? Same with Robert Malone, RFK Jr., Whitney Webb. What's the end game? Maybe to get a list of followers or people that retweet what he says, but you got that anyway. So what's the end game?
To be fair, I mean, when it comes to the PPC party, I mean, you know, it could just be as simple as trying to split the conservative votes so the Liberals keep winning, right?
Yes.
I mean, that is a reasonable assumption.
Yeah, but I mean, like that would have to go back to, what was it, 2014 or whatever? You'd have to like predict that Bernier would just barely lose like the fourth vote in the PC election, and then he's going to create a new party. Like it's a hell of an op for little old Canada. It's a hell of an op, right? Like,
right.
And the guy's just been freewheeling and shooting his mouth off for like 8 years in the most outrageous way, gathering support. over issues that are completely antithetical to the mainstream views. So it's like, what would the end game be? Maybe one day you'd stand up and go like, you know what, gays are great or something like that. I don't know. Gotcha. Yeah, and that's the problem that I have with this controlled op talk.
Yeah, to be fair, he's got no issues with the gay community. I mean, there's even gays and LGBT people that are PPC members, and I think even ran for visit like.
Oh yeah. The Ottawa Central one here was like a girl who was like, "Hey, how you doing, buddy?" But at the same time, I mean, like, you know, you pick your fights, right? Yeah. And if you're gonna run somebody in Ottawa, that's what I would do. If you could find a conservative gay in Ottawa,
yeah,
it's exactly what I do.
Yeah.
You know, it's 100% what I do right now. Like Ottawa, Toronto, Vancouver, all these metro cities. If you can find a good gay, damn, put the PPC flag all over them. Yeah. Let's go, right? Because I mean, yeah, the girl here in Ottawa, she was Mexican and lesbian.
Right.
So yeah, let's go, right? You take away 45% of the things that they can slur the candidate with right off the bat.
Yeah.
So I get that. I get that. I mean, you know, it's kind of like abortion and gay. It's like you can only go so far at the gates. Maybe later on we can have those difficult discussions. You know, but right from the go, right now, it's kind of like there are some arguments and some things that we lost 40, 50 years ago, 30 years ago that they're not worth fighting right now.
Yeah. Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, this is how bad things have become. You know, things have become so bad that literally all we are asking for at this point, and it would be a monumental step forward, is to be able to have the conversation. And we can't even do that.
Yeah.
Like, exactly. Like, we're well past the point of, you know, I mean, never mind going after the Jews, just trying to tackle things like abortion or even immigration or anything for that matter. It's like, fuck, we need to be able to talk to people again.
Never mind the Jews.
Yeah, and have an opinion.
Exactly. Never mind the Jews. I mean, there's so many things right in our face right now. Ukraine and 400,000 immigrants coming into Canada and stuff like this that are so immediate. The lack of freedom of speech, vaccine mandates, all this stuff. There's so much to talk about right now. We don't need to go and rehash fucking gay marriage and abortion or anything like that yet.
Just it. Exactly. I mean, everything is the woke agenda, and what Poilievre did just proved that. He just bowed completely to it, right? So, I mean, clearly, I mean, if you can deduce anything from that, is that, you know, the dude isn't even interested in having the conversation.
What dude?
Poilievre. And
yeah. I don't know.
Like, we need to be able to start talking about these issues, even if they're contentious.
He's just wishy-washy,
right?
Yeah.
So the fact that we're that far gone as a society, like, it's, oh my God, we've got such a mountain to climb, and we're not at the base of the mountain. We're like 500 feet down in the fucking Grand Canyon below it. You know, I mean, that's where we're starting from.
I know, right? So you got to be careful, and yeah, you know, in the big fights, there's some fights that just they're so contentious and so inflammatory and happened so long ago that it's not worth bringing up now, right? And that's where I'm coming from. Like right now, it's Ukraine and immigration and mandates and government overreach and totalitarianism, and then we can go to the other stuff, right? And I'd love to see a party start talking about the Republic of Canada. Mariangela, so Americans watching, Mariangela is a highly active Ontarian in Ontario populist politics with the Ontario Party, correct? Very active person. Anything she says, we need to listen to. She's a very, very influential person. I passed along some advice that was given to my father from Preston Manning. Preston Manning is the person, so we're going to go here for the Americans, okay? So we had liberals and conservatives forever, with the tiny New Democratic Party lightly challenging every now and then. And then from the western provinces, so think the equivalent in America of your southern red states, came a party called the Reform Party, completely grassroots out of middle and western Canada, that became such a threat that eventually they combined with the Conservative Party of Canada into what we have today, the CPC, the Conservative Party of Canada. So I passed along some advice that was given to my father from Preston Manning, who was the leader of the Reform Party. And he's actually taken my advice and adjusted his strategy. All right. Was this advice about trousers? Like really sleek trousers to wear? Maxime's also changed and apologized for standing on less conservative ideas. Oh, has he? Oh, interesting. Huh. What did he apologize about?
Well,
we're at 4,000 illegals a month at Roxham Road crossing that's unguarded, on top of the massive wave of what is Trudeau's targets right now at 114,000 a year.
and was it Trudeau or Poilievre that just said something about that too, like not being able to just shut it down? Like there went on some big spiel about how it was more complicated than that, and yada yada yada. And
that Poilievre was saying we can't just shut down Roxham Road.
Yeah, was it Poilievre that said that, or was it Trudeau? God, I forget.
Jeez, I mean, like, what's more complicated than saying no, you can't come in?
Exactly. Well, that was my point, right? Like, what do you mean it's complicated? You just fucking shut it down. You know.
And if it gets hairy, then you pull out a gun.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I do not understand. I mean, just had this like pustulant sore at Roxham Road, and with people like Lauren Southern and Rebel Media. I got mixed feelings about Rebel Media, but at the same time, they do great stories showing that there's a giant business that's developed around this. They know you can get in at Roxham Road and a couple other places in Quebec from America. It's a whole business side that no one covers. All these people, they're just fleeing their oppressive governments. No, they're not. They paid for this. It's a business, and they want to come to Canada because they think it's better here.
Yeah. And they're coming from the States. Like they're already in America. Like what's oppressive about that?
Well, yeah, they land there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're not supposed to be there, so they just hike up to Roxham Road, right?
Right, but
that's part of the whole deal. And then obviously the Americans let them do that, and obviously the RCMP lets them do that.
Yeah.
You've seen those pathetic videos at the crossing where they're like, basically, do you have anything to declare? Okay, welcome to Canada.
Is there a Roxham Road in Russia anywhere? We need to find that.
In Russia? I don't know. I don't think we'll need it.
The KGB to carry our bags across. We'll be good.
That's right. These things are heavy, bro.
Unreal, man. Yeah, I don't know. It's all a mess. It's all an unbelievable mess.
Yeah, there we go. Russian Parliament consults Americans moving to Russia. They're setting up a whole group in Russia to facilitate Americans moving to Russia, which they think is going to explode over the next couple of years.
I don't doubt it.
I don't doubt it either. It's really wild to say this, but I think Russia might be the last republic on Earth. It's a lot to say, man. It's really weird. I get it, but shit, man.
We'll have to see how this war plays out, but yeah.
Well, here's how it plays out. Russia defeats Ukraine and then decides whether Ukraine gets to be a country or not. That's
Unless
basically it.
Unless the West decides to really get involved and
but then it's nukes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's certainly an avenue that's open, but I mean, I think there's other avenues that could go down, without nukes. But we'll see. It'll probably be nukes, right?
The only other avenue is to probably do what they're doing right now, is to arm up Poland. And then Poland makes a phase 2 of this war by declaring war on Russia.
Yeah, I thought Poland was cool. What's going on there?
Poland is bonkers. When it comes to Russia, the history between Poland and Russia is not good, and they're bonkers. Like,
right.
The Polish president calling for open war with Russia.
Yeah, well, I saw that, and it confused me briefly. I was like, well, I thought Poland was like one of the less woke, cooler countries, but yeah.
Yeah, right. They are internally. Externally, they're this bad blood, and they're just like fucking chomping at the bit. Let's go.
Really? Yeah. Wow.
Even though, I mean, my God, I mean, you remember the jokes about the Italians in World War II. Just wait till you see the new jokes that would come out about the Polish in World War III. My God, all these people that are just brainwashed by the idea that Russia is a third world country, that they don't know which end of the gun to fire, that they're running out of ammo, that the Putin's an unhinged dictator that just on a whim has been like, oh, let's just take Ukraine because I feel like it. They're fucking lost, and Poland's drinking that Kool-Aid.
Yep.
And they think that they'll just like get a bunch of tanks and guns from America, and then they'll just go fight Russia. Like, good luck with that. Russia has been on the ramp up as a military power since at least Crimea,
right?
If not Georgia. They just sort of ramping everything up for like fucking 12 years now, to the point where it's just like they can shoot off all their shit, all their things that the Western like think tanks and groups think like, oh, they got 8,000 missiles. Oh, so we counted they shot 4,000 missiles. So now they're running out. No, they have entire sectors of factories completely ramped up now, making thousands of these things a day.
Yeah.
And there's Russia and there's Poland and Ukraine right there. So Russia just needs to go like to resupply. If Poland or America want to fucking, we're seeing it right now with Ukraine.
Yeah.
Oh, send us 14 tanks. We're sending 14 tanks, right? And then like tomorrow, Russia will blow up 14 tanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they're just like, what time is it? Noon? Okay, bam, 14 tanks gone.
Yeah.
You know, you got to drive these things across the entire fucking world and drop them in. And Ukraine can't service any of this fucking equipment. So nor can Poland. They send it to Poland to get it serviced.
Right.
Like it just, you can't. America cannot fight Russia. America and England and NATO, they can't fight Russia without nukes. They can't.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably true.
Russia will destroy anyone who takes them on. And there's no way around it, especially now that they're like, oh, okay, so you guys are complete fucking liars. Any peace treaty we've signed with you is a complete joke. So we're never talking to you again. And in the background, they're like, amp up production, amp up production, amp up production, right?
Yeah.
The Biden's America has started a new Cold War.
Yeah.
So there's no winning. There's no fighting. The only thing America's got is nukes. So if they want to go that way, then, I mean, Russia's got pretty much just as many. and we all pay for it. But other than that, there's nothing. They can't fight Russia. Even the Rand Corporation, the much vaunted neoconservative Rand Corporation in America, released a report recently saying you can't fight Russia, you can't fight China.
Yeah.
Can't be done.
Yeah, and China, yeah, that happened in the past week or two, right? Putin was talking to a couple of heads of state in China, right?
Yeah.
America was all worried about that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if those two get together, like for real, it's game over.
Well, they already have.
They were. Yeah.
Dude, Biden has pushed Russia and China so close together. They're, it's going to be a new union, and Russia, China, Iran, India. There's going to be this entire complete pole on the earth. That's just they've been lied to and fucked over and regime changed and just like the West has exhausted all opportunities to even speak to them now.
Right.
They're just like, bang! We're going to sell our own gas. We're going to do it in our own currency, and we're just ignoring you now.
Yeah.
These sanctions that they put on Russia is supposed to cripple Russia, and Russia just had a sniff and went on with business.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so they've actually forced what were two enemies before. Sometime during the Stalin era, Russia and China had a massive division. Stalin and Mao had a horrible dropping out, and they became like enemies. And they stayed like super opposed to each other for like 60 years. And It's only now that under this stupidity that they're holding hands like openly and freely.
Yep.
Yeah. So, it's over. Like they have nothing left to play except nukes. So if America wants to do nukes, then we'll see what happens, right?
Right.
Other than that, they can't win any war. The Rand Corporation just released a new paper analyzing war games with Taiwan, which is America's next warmongering move, is Taiwan. Like they want us to like do a Ukraine in Taiwan. What? Like the Rand Corporation itself, which is like it might as well be Dick Cheney writing the fucking papers.
Yeah.
They come to the conclusion after running a war game that America will win.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
But it's like hundreds of thousands of Americans dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like trillions spent.
Yeah.
But their conclusion is, I mean, it's bullshit anyway. Taiwan is just like, you just zoom out on the earth and there's like fucking China, and then Taiwan is like right next to it. If China's this big, Taiwan's like half a millimeter away from it.
Yeah.
And like, you think America is going to come from California, like 7,000 miles away, and fight a war against this country over this island that's butted right up against next to China? They can just barf more missiles and barf more boats and barf more troops right onto the island.
Yeah.
You think you're going to win that war?
Yeah, it'd be a disaster.
That's a complete fucking disaster.
Yeah.
And, instead of being like, hey, okay, that'd be a complete disaster, maybe we should have some the friendly words with our Chinese people and see if we can come to some kind of agreement with Taiwan. Instead, no, it's exactly what they're doing in Ukraine. They've banned China from using semiconductors.
Right.
From any country. But what I found out, to my shock, just this past year, is that the high-end semiconductors are only made in one place, in Taiwan.
Right.
So what's China done? Ramped up semiconductor production. In 3 years, they'll be exactly on par with Taiwan.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it takes like billions of dollars to buy this equipment, and it's an entire like ecosystem that needs to be created to make the chips. But China's like that, right? Love them or hate them, China is very collectivist. So they're like, okay, now we're making chips.
Right.
Everybody's like, okay, sounds good. Let's make chips, right?
Yeah.
And enjoy like your moment of denying China semiconductors. But what are you gonna do in 5 years when they're producing better semiconductors?
Yeah.
Fucking dickhead idiots. How about this radical idea? Sit down and have fucking talks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's have peace.
Yeah.
China's never going to be America. Russia's not going to be America. Iran is not going to be America. India is not going to be America. Sit down and fucking talk to them.
Yeah. Well, agreed.
God, instead of this regime change, fucking war bullshit. God, man, it gets me so angry.
Yeah.
And so, to tie it all back in, there's one party in Canada that's talking about peace, and that's the People's Party of Canada.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, hopefully we get there before we croak.
I know. Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Mary Angela says, I have Polish friends. There's no way we could talk about Ukraine. Oh my God, I can imagine. There's just this deep hatred, eh? And I guess it's because Ukraine has variously been part of Poland. It's been part of Poland, part of Russia. I mean, at the end of the day, Ukraine kind of doesn't exist almost. It's strange. It's a strange situation. Yeah. So, other than that, I mean, what the hell else has been going on, Bray?
I don't know. Like I said, I've been trying not to pay attention. It looks like just more of the same bullshit. I mean,
yeah.
My buddy was right. Turn it off for a month and go back, and you'll notice that nothing has changed. You know, and it's like, yeah, that's true, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing about social media is like you're like, oh, I don't want to like miss anything, but shit, man, it's just kind of like the same cycles. Yeah, go away for a month, come back, it's probably the same. We're gonna find out soon. I'm coming up Yukon soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple weeks, eh? Yeah.
Yeah. A little more than 2 weeks. Be up to Yukon. We might do a desk broadcast, like two of us at the same desk.
Yeah. Each.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, it'll be cool. Yeah, it should be good. Yeah, it should be still.
Allison Cole, what's up, bitches? Good to see you, Allison. It's about time.
Yeah.
Oh, nice in Florida. Oh, good for you. Yeah. Florida's becoming one of the hardest U.S. states, I got to say. Anetka, avoid the woke. Good to see you. I'm Polish-Ukrainian. Oh, wow. You have the conflict built in. History. Polish and Russian rebels left their homelands, but then began slaughtering Poles and Rus. They occupied and stole the land, thus forming Ukraine. Yeah, it's all just messed. And obviously, whoever's in charge in Poland right now, they're just chomping at the bit. They want revenge in a big way. Let's see. So the topic of tonight, we want to hear from the racist German. Let's hear what you got to say.
All right.
People coming here, they actually have to have some kind of a qualification.
Can you hear it?
What we have in Germany is, the people just pouring in, and there are so-called refugees. We are being told they are going to, some time down the line, they're going to pay our pensions. I think not. Well, we're seeing a total overflow of our welfare system, which is completely blown out of proportion. And we have now a ratio, it's up to 50% of the budget even. So it's not sustainable. And it's just, once again, it's gaslighting going on. They're being sold to us as, enrichment, cultural enrichment. Yeah, I really don't think so. What we see every day now is people getting knifed down with machetes. We're talking about brutal, not just rapes, brutal rapes, gang rapes of girls as young as 6, 7 years old. And it's all isolated incidents every single time. Tragic, but isolated incidents. So we are sacrificing our way of life, our free and liberal and equal society on the altar of tolerance and respect. We are just flushing all of this down the toilet. And we might, wind up in the medievals, something like that. So, but yet, if you say anything against that, if you raise these issues, I mean, people being murdered in broad daylight on an everyday basis, that's pretty heavy. So, but if you say that, then you obviously are a racist. And that's why we are being labeled, we are against immigration. We are not against immigration, but please don't let them, run in by the millions and then, live off of us. And on top of all of that, have our girls raped, get mugged, get stabbed to death, beheaded. All of these things are happening on an everyday basis. And I don't want to live in a country like that.
Yep. Well, exactly right. And that's what I mean. You can't even have the conversation she just tried to have without being labeled, some far right extremist, white supremacist Nazi, right? So
I for one would like to apologize on behalf of super spreaders for airing such racist and intolerant content, and it has no place in Canadian discourse. And vote Pierre Poilievre, vote Conservative Party. Well, I mean, what about that was racist?
Well, that's just it. I mean, when you can't, I mean, and the thing is, the hand waving away that the left does, right? They do this without addressing, the fact that she's talking about, these rapes and these beheadings and these stabbings occurring daily. Now, we'll go on a limb here and assume that that's accurate, that it's happening daily. But even if it's happening, every other day or every third day, that's still, way too often.
Man. Every 8 days would be a little bit much for me.
That's way too often. So, I mean, at some point, the left has to address that. If you don't want to tie it to immigration, which, whatever, fine. I don't care.
But they don't. They are post-factual. They are post-fact. So it doesn't matter about any of this. What matters is the identity of the people involved. It doesn't matter if there are 400% increase in rapes in Sweden and stuff. It doesn't matter about that. What matters is that they're Muslim.
Right. So
they're immigrants.
So the little 6-year-old girls getting gang raped and stabbed and beheaded doesn't matter.
Nothing. No, it doesn't even matter at all. You're reporting that as a crime.
Really bleeding heart of you.
And that's how you end up with Sweden. Just had a resurgence. They just had a conservative politician win big over there.
Yeah,
and they're reeling. They're like, oh my God, my meatballs are all overcooked now that we have conservatives in power in Sweden. What happened? Because you let this simmer. You just you buried your head in the sand. Where like like the police would report on a crime, and they won't put out visual identifiers for the perpetrator, just like UK. And you can only do this for so long before people will just fucking explode. And in Sweden, it got to that point, and they just had a far right person come to power over there. It was, surprise! Oh, what's happening in Sweden? Well, fuck, it's been happening for 15 years. 30 years in Sweden of just like open borders and massive woke like social programs and stuff. And meanwhile, it's actually like Swedes, you care about Sweden, you're just boiling under just like us. And then one day you wake up and fuck, they're in power, right?
I guess my point with that though is it doesn't need to happen. Like there's different ways to approach this. Like I don't care if you want to be pro-immigration and let in, regardless of race, color, creed, religion, I don't care. If a certain group of people or specific individuals from any of those types of people are committing those atrocities, you need to crack down on that shit hard.
Yes. Yeah. What's always missed in the conversation is that it doesn't matter about any of the immigrants. It doesn't matter about their source. It doesn't matter about their skin color. It's all that any of us is arguing for is smart immigration, not a lack of it, not a xenophobic thing. No, we don't want any brownies in here and nothing like that. Go to any of our talks, any of the people that we follow, and find them saying we don't want any brownies. Find me one quote.
Yep.
Nothing. That's not the sentiment. We need a balanced approach to this and a lawful approach.
If it's got anything to do with, it's got to do with the morality of the culture that you're allowing into your country. Like if their morals don't align with the base morals or values of your own country, then something's going to give, and you got to do something about that.
Well, you've got to. I mean, the real issue is the morals of your own country.
Well, it's all true, exactly.
Right. So I mean,
we've done such a good job with our own morals the past.
That's right. So we basically don't have any anymore. So therefore, it's not possible to have a mismatch with any potential immigrants' morals because we don't have them. We won't state them. Yeah. It used to be like you didn't even have to state them 50 years ago. Well, I bet we're good.
Their morals just fine if it's if that's kind of shit's happening in Germany. I'm sure if it's a born and bred German from a family that's been there for 4 generations and they went out in the street and did that shit, I'm sure they'd find out right quick what the fuck the law thinks.
Oh God, yeah, they'd be on the front page. But it's like there's just no demands on anyone coming to the country in any way, shape, or form. There's completely open, leaky border, completely like just we can't say anything about it. They're brown. Like it just makes it bizarre to where. I mean, Canada, we're taking in 4,000 a day at Roxham Road. We have no idea where they're going. Turns out they're going to like apartments and hotels and shit that we're paying for and stuff. And then what are they doing? Are they putting them mass into certain neighborhoods? Where are these people ending up? How much is it costing us? Do they even have to take the tests anymore? Like I remember like in the 80s that I was often faced with like cab drivers and stuff who were immigrants that knew more about the Canadian Constitution than I did.
Yeah.
Because they had to take these tests. Right? You take these classes to be declared good to go, and then like you take your oath and you're a Canadian citizen. And they knew more about like Louis Riel and fucking John Diefenbaker and shit than I did.
Yeah.
I remember being schooled in some cabs sometimes, right? Do they do that anymore? I highly doubt it.
I doubt it.
I highly doubt it.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's an abomination. What's happened,
Anetka, avoid the woke. First time catching alive. Thank you for streaming. Thank you for watching. It's great. Get onto Rumble. Anetka, is that a girl's name? Girl, get on Rumble. Or dude, get on Rumble. And make sure you got us on Rumble because half the time on our live streams, we do about 10 minutes on YouTube and cut it because we've been struck in a total of 3 times for, not towing the line on Ukraine or COVID. So tonight we were talking Canadian politics. We figure we're safe. We've kept it on YouTube, but we're fully moving over to Rumble and Odysee and things like that because it's just, it is what it is. I see a future where the evidence that we're building will take down YouTube. They're complicit in murder, complicit in totalitarianism. One day there'll be #The Reckoning. Let's spread it.
Spread it. You can hope. That's probably another one of those big battles, but we could try. Anyway.
Hey, you got to have goals, right? Hashtag squad goals.
Yeah.
We got goals for my visit. What are we doing? We're going to shoot some shit. We're going to fish.
We'll probably we'll do some fishing for sure. It looks like the weather's going to remain cold until then, so the ice should still be fine.
This is my first time visiting Rain up in the Yukon in the winter, so it's going to be very interesting, right? He's up on the top of the earth, so
top.
Although right now I feel like I'm on top of the earth. It's like minus 15 here this whole week, pretty much.
Yeah.
Minus 15 Celsius, maybe like 9 or 10 degrees Fahrenheit for you Americans.
Yeah, we're a little closer to 30 overnight at the moment, but yeah.
So that'll be fun. So maybe we'll like kill something big and drag it on a stream. We'll do a Yukon stream with big moose head right in the middle of the table. Let's go. Let's spread it.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we've done enough for tonight.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
We got Allison on, and that's all we needed.
It's been a while. Yeah. Cool.
Oh, you lost power. Oh, damn. All right, everyone. We'll do this again next week. Stay tuned and watch out for notifications. Everyone get us on Rumble, please, because YouTube is hopeless. Love you all, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.